Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Home Dad Chat. Man, it's been a fun week. It's been hot here in Cincinnati. What about you, Danny? Is it heating up north there?
It just been the worst. It's been 80. Yeah,
80.
couldn't handle it. It's 82 right now. I had to come inside, man.
I'll trade you.
I went out No, that's why I live here. I'm done with heat. And I'm seeing all my friends in Georgia, they're melting. I mean, they're dying. I even had a friend whose AC died, and he was just like, we're going to stay at a hotel, so if you can't reach me tonight. And I'm like, yeah, because you will die.
Yeah.
And we went out yesterday, and you could just tell there's like a lot of, or not yesterday, Saturday. And everybody's active, everything in the morning. And then it gets about 11. And it's just like, I go out at, 6 or 7 or whatever in the morning, first thing do, take trash out or whatever. And it is beautiful. I'm like, ooh, this is a nice like fall day. Like the cold is coming.
You're making enemies right now. I'm just going to tell you, you're making enemies.
Come on, be happy for someone who has good things, guys. Come on. I feel for you. I lived in the heat for way too long. And if you want to come live in Wisconsin, I keep saying Minnesota. You want to come, either one, actually. If you want to come live up here, come on. It's a beautiful place, like 4 or 5 months out of the year. Easy.
I would say the rest of the time you want to be down in the South. Because then
it's just like
Elsa, you get the really pissed off version of Elsa is what you guys get the rest of the time.
Yeah, and in like October, it's just okay. It's balls cold in October even, and it's already like
I don't need to be in a snowmobile suit trick-or-treating. That's right. I've done that before as a kid. So.
Have you? Oh wow. Yeah, I was just glad that we could wear a costume, or kids at least could wear their costumes and don't have to have like sweat inside it. It's like naked in their costume and that's it. It's like, damn, so hot. And now it's like, maybe you want a jacket, maybe you want an underlayer. It's cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, all this talk of heat, man, is making me thirsty for my favorite lawnmower beer.
Yeah. What's your yard beer?
One of my favorite lawnmower beers. This year, one of them is 50 West American Lager. So 50 West Brewing is just down the street from my house, and usually when they're brewing, if the wind's blowing the right way, I get to smell all that yummy goodness coming my way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is I'm like, oh, it's brewing day. Yes,
yeah,
this is awesome. But no, like they've got I think it's like a 15 pack or whatever. So and it's a really good price, so I'd pick some of that up. But that's
is that like a craft beer? I'm assuming again, because a lot of times I lose the proper verbiage for what beer is what. Because a lot of guys just buy stuff apparently off the shelf.
There's being able to buy like a single can at a bottle shop and stuff. And then there's craft. Some of the breweries nowadays, like they actually have like for their lagers, like it's such a lawnmower beer, like summer type thing. Like, like it's a great way to actually combat some of the bigger names by being like, hey, like we can get you a 15 pack of our stuff. And so it's like, sweet, I can do that. Cause the prices, they're not too much different, but you're getting what I consider to be a way better flavor palette when it comes to them. And so so that's what I have, and it's very enjoyable, and it's kind of appropriate that we're talking about beer tonight. Indeed. Because we are going to have the one and only Joe Saladino from
the man, the myth, the legend
from Sad Beercast on. But we're not talking about Sad Beercast tonight. We're talking about the beer share for Home Dad Con.
Oh yeah.
So give us a few minutes give us a couple minutes. We'll have a commercial for you, and we'll be back, and we'll be talking with Joe about the beer share and just how exciting and how different it's going to be this year compared to past years.
Big time.
So we'll be right back. Become a member of the National At-Home Dad Network, an organization focused on providing advocacy, community, education, and support. connecting with households where dad is the primary caregiver of the children. We do this through our webinar and podcast series, mental health support groups, regular online social events, as well as our annual convention. The National At-Home Dad Network is a 100% volunteer organization. Without the generous support of its members and the community around it, we would not be able to continue the work that we do. Becoming a member gives you access to past convention speaker presentations, the ability to vote for board members annually, and ensures that the organization's fees and bills are in positive standing. Oh yeah, it should not go unmentioned that there is some cool swag headed your way if you decide to become a member. For only $35 a year, your membership provides you with the exclusive content only we can generate, and you'll be supporting an organization that benefits families all around the country and world. By advocating for them, offering them community, providing education and guidance, and supporting them to grow in their parenthood journey. And one last thing, if you contribute $500 or more, you will become a lifetime member. Not only will you receive everything already mentioned, but also a certificate recognizing your status and an exclusive National At-Home Dad Network challenge coin with our trademark logo, Dads Don't Babysit. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member today. Welcome back. And so, of course, like I said, we have Joe Saladino with us tonight, and we're going to be talking about the beer share. And if you don't know what it is, by the end of this episode, you will know what it is, and you will want to probably come to Home Dad Con if you have any inkling of enjoying craft beer, because that beer share always brings the boys to the yard.
More than a few. Yeah.
More than a
definitely.
few. Yeah. And even some milk stouts will bring all the boys to the yard too. IPA milkshake? I don't know. Like
IPA milk.
Gross. What?
I mean, it's
what
all
does
there.
IPA stand for? It's pine cones, asshole, or something like that. I can't remember.
Hey.
I don't drink beer.
Yeah. Just because you've never had a good one doesn't mean you can talk shit about it.
You know, I know everybody tells me that. You know, let me let you. And everyone, I'm like, okay, yeah, no. It's just an acquired taste that I have never acquired.
I forgot to check in on this. I mean, I listen to the Home Dad Chat often, but on levels of cursing, are we at 0, like none?
Ooh.
Or like an occasional? Because the Stay at Home Dad beer cast is at a 10. Like,
yeah, we're not quite at a 10, but I mean, it's been known to have.
I'd be fine with it, but yeah, I think our listeners probably are. Yeah, I mean, if you let something slip, and honestly, if it was bad, we would. Well, I shouldn't say Brock would just edit you out. You just go,
it's all good. No, actually,
like a honking sound or something, or a beer can. Every time you cuss, we'll make a beer can opening.
You're like, man, it turned into a 5-minute interview. Wow. Way to go, Joe.
No. The show has the explicited whatever markings on it, so it's no holds bar for the most part. So
that is a large glass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what in the world did you pour yourself for this occasion?
It looks like a bowl. I mean,
Zoom is now like magnifying like a mug.
I can't
it's a blurry mug. Wait, what is that?
There we go.
Is that a stout of some kind you have there?
Yeah, so this is so the glass is from Holy Mountain, which is my favorite spot in Seattle. But the beer, can I get? Oh, hey, it actually.
Nice.
Yes.
There you go.
Crux Stout.
Crux
and
Stout.
they're out of Bend, Oregon. Crux Fermentation Project, and they can do no wrong. They just do awesome everything. So
nice.
But yeah, nice. I figured you got me on to talk about beer.
Yeah,
probably have a beer.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, that's what I was saying earlier before you came on. I have a
root beer. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got a root beer. I've got an American lager from 50 West brewing down the street. So
there you
go. Nothing too heavy, but I didn't really have anything special in the old refrigerator, so it was the lawnmower beer to the rescue. But it's hot enough for it out there.
So this comes out of a 4-pack that I bought, because everything else in my mini fridge and my coffers right now is going at some point to the beer cast. So you know, it's we consider it our nuclear arsenals.
Nice.
Like We both have our own stash, but it's understood that the top tier doesn't get drank without the other.
Yeah,
like
that's
it
good.
doesn't. And if that ever happens, that's mutually assured destruction. Like it's just got, we every once in a while on the beer cast will start talking about, oh, haha, when you're gone, I'm gonna drink X. And then it's I'll drink this, I'll drink this, I'll drink
You're not
this.
drinking.
I'll piss on your lawn.
As long as you're not
back forth. So like,
yeah, let's say as long as you're not drinking actual X, we're okay. So I just want to make sure that that's not what we were getting into.
I'm telling you, it'll get ramped up. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, so talking about the beer share. So
yes.
I met you in Orlando. That was the first year. Was that wasn't your first year though? You did Portland, right?
I did Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the year prior. So you've been around a year longer than me. You've seen some different things with the beer share go on.
Stuff.
You've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
You brought some stuff. You've experienced some stuff.
Oh yeah, Portland.
And we're not talking about Portland, okay? That's like
ask a friend, ask a veteran.
I just if anything, there just needs to be a shirt that says we don't talk about Portland.
I survived Portland and all I got was this shirt.
Oh my goodness. Okay. But anyway.
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay.
So here we are now, five home dad cons into the future from Portland, basically.
Yeah.
And I've also experienced a couple of beer shares with you at Dad 2.0 Summit, which is a different monster all of itself.
Right.
But you guys last year, man, took it to a whole different level. So
yeah, we did.
Let me ask this first. When you first started coming to Home Dad Con, what was the beer share like?
So it was a lot like Dad 2, if you experienced that. It was just like, it was more a bunch of buddies that are beer nerds or beer nerd adjacent.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about a few like Greg Washington, David Rogers, a couple of those guys that like, they know their beer stuff. Like they are down. And I mean, a few others too. And it was like, okay, we're doing this, and then kind of known that you can participate.
Right. It was just open. It's open to anybody, basically.
Open to anybody. And I mean, still was last year.
Yeah.
Continue to be. But back then it was a lot more low key, but then jammed into one room.
Right. Because whoever had the biggest room, that's where it was at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even biggest room, just whatever.
The willingness to have lots of beer and people in your room.
Yep. And was it? I mean, Orlando, it spilled off into the fire escape.
It did. Yeah. We weren't supposed to, but it did.
No. But I mean, the guys who wanted to smoke needed somewhere.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we made it work.
So, yeah.
But and
hotels have been very forgiving and very nice when it comes to the beer share a lot of times.
Well, in Minneapolis, the beer share was that in our room? I don't even remember. It was in our room. Okay. Yep. So we had that, and then Cincinnati was actually in a common space.
That was a game changer. Yeah.
And that was very interesting. Well, one, you had so many more guys that like drove in and could bring so much more, and there was a lot. There was so much there, but kind of so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with on this exactly.
So I'll say this about Cincinnati too. That was the first year we had like an open Facebook page for it.
Oh, really? That was the first year for the beer share page? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, so like before that, it was people chatting with each other and, big chats and stuff like that. But Cincinnati was the first year where I believe so that I put up a full, page for it.
Yeah. Okay. Much more organized.
Right. And people we started talking about, okay, what are you bringing? Yes. I asked people to ask others, because I wanted some stuff from Westbrook, which is North Carolina, that it's just impossible to get out here. And I had 2 guys bring me the bottle I wanted. So I brought one home with me to Seattle, and we had that on the podcast. And then I had one at the beer share.
Nice.
but so there's a lot more conversations like that, which was also cool because you had people bringing specific stuff for others.
Which is the kind of the nice thing about the beer share is that like if there is something that you're like, I can't get this here. Like for instance, like Pliny the Elder, like you can't get that over this way.
It's rough, yeah.
And so, you know, to be able to say to somebody like, hey, can you bring a bottle of this? I'd love to be able to try it or whatever. Or hey, like I've got this bottle. Would you like to trade for it? Type of deal. Seemed to be a lot easier to work that out.
Yeah.
But so you guys get together and this thing gets rolling. And I don't know. For me, I was planning everything else out. So like I come walking in. And I didn't know.
A bit busy, yeah.
Well, I came walking in and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, because there were just tons of guys there, which was awesome to see. But there was a lot of organization. You and Paul were like the bar backs for like the entire weekend, it seemed like.
For the most part, he was my main bar back, which was appreciated. We became brothers in arms real quick.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
But it also helped to portion out the beer as well, because there were so many people that wanted to try different things. But at what point, because okay, let's just put it this way, for scholarship type stuff, I want to talk about this a little bit. So scholarship, typically $5 from every ticket sold goes into the scholarship fund in the years past. Like it's just an automatic thing that happens. And Danny, do you want to speak a little bit to like the scholarship, like what that does for individuals to be able to like how that applies to them?
Yeah, it's called the Brian Dixon Memorial Scholarship, and Brian Dixon was one of our at-home dads who passed away in I think 2007. And the organization basically set it up as a memorial to him, obviously. And it can include all three things. It could be your hotel cost, it could be even your airplane ticket, it could be your convention ticket. And most of the time it's going to start out with a convention ticket because that's what we have the most control over. And we can look at it and say, well, our costs are this much. Can we handle just letting this guy come without, charging him? And it comes from that place where, you realize that while we are a nonprofit and we're definitely not making a profit or really anything barely above what we really basically need, we still want to be able to give back to people, right? We want to have people come in, and we all understand how beneficial it is to go to the convention. And things like, just like the beer share, which has grown from just like a grassroots, like you said, just some guys get together and share the beers from their local area, to a much more organized and still growing into that organization, where it's going to be something that's going to, wow, this is what I do. That's my thing on, Friday night or whatever night, this is what I do. Or heck, Friday night and Saturday night, and I stay up Sunday, whatever, because it's so much fun and people enjoy it. But the scholarship really makes it so that we can allow people to come to the convention who would not be able to.
Yeah.
And especially first timers, it is amazing how it's just life-changing, really. And I think we all know what the convention can do for you and how great it can be. And telling a dad, we get it. We understand. This is an expense, and most of us are, obviously going to be on a single income family, and then we have kids to support, and financially it's a struggle. So being able to offer somebody, even if it's just a convention ticket, but also, getting somebody a room, I know a lot of the dads too will say, well, I got a room if anybody wants to stay with me, if you want to, offer out the other half of my room, or I was going to have a roommate and they canceled out. And I went ahead and I've already paid for it or whatever. I plan on paying for it. It's in my budget. You can have a scholarship recipient stay with me. You share that other bed in the room, or, the couch or the floor, whatever it might end up being. Right. So the scholarship fund really opens up the convention to a lot of people who probably would never be able to go.
Definitely. Yeah. And I was going to say too, like I had Hogan Hilling actually stop by last week.
And I did too.
And and
not me.
He's out your way, Joe.
He's gonna call me.
Man, I'll have to get on about that. But anyway,
for those listening, I'm frowning.
I'm pouty face. He's a pouty face. You have some beer, son, and you'll be okay.
I'll text him later. It's okay, Joe.
Now.
It's okay.
It's too salty.
Oh my. Well, so anyway, I was talking with him about the fact that the beer share and the scholarship, and kind of how like they are now, there's a bit of like overlap on what's going on. And he was like, oh, it's so wild that you guys are doing that. He's like, when that whole scholarship started, he's like, we literally just passed the hat at the convention on like the last day. And I was like, that's interesting. I didn't realize that was a part of that story, that you guys did that. And they said, yeah, they did it for a couple of years apparently. And then things got a little bit more official in that. So that it's kind of neat to see there's like an inkling of that in what is taking place now.
Yeah.
One. So I wouldn't have gotten to my first two conferences if it wasn't for help from others. So my first one was in Portland. I'm in Seattle, and I was looking for some kind of community. So I had just become a stay-at-home dad, and I was losing it. I needed to talk to people that got it, and at the same time, my mom was looking for resources for me as well, because she's like, he's losing it. He needs to talk to somebody. And we both, like, same weekend found that it was going to be in Portland. And so her and my dad sent me. They paid for it. Now, I mean, the nice part is, believe it or not, gas was under $4. So wasn't too difficult to, get the money for that. But then Orlando, I wouldn't have made it without the scholarship fund. So I've actually benefited from the scholarship fund like many others. So it's really important to me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the cool thing too with the scholarship fund is that if you go to homedadcon.org, down in the box where you have like the ability to register for a ticket, if you can't do the actual going to it and you want to give to the scholarship, like there's a way just to do that, which I thought was which I think is really cool. Like they've got its own way to do that. And so that's a new thing as well, because I don't think that was the case in the past. Like you could do it like after you registered, like they give you an option, but this gives it to you before that. So that's just kind of another added benefit to hopefully putting more into that fund for anybody who's like, maybe not this year, but I'd like to maybe give $10 or something like that, whatever it is.
And we have had dads or community members, and then other dads, just people that, that have just basically found out about it, I guess, one way or another. I don't want to give any details, but who have gone in and said, hey, I would like to just buy somebody a ticket, basically.
Yeah.
I would like
really
to
cool.
just, I would like to get somebody their hotel room. Right.
Yeah.
And it is amazing the generosity that our community really has, just as a part, I think, of who we are. Honestly, if you're going to be a full-time parent, I think you have to have an amount of sacrifice, of course, but also an amount of wanting to help other people.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I love that that's a big part of what we have. Is, again, I always come back to my favorite part about the pillars of the organization is community.
Yeah.
And it is that community that we're building on a daily basis, so that people will just like, yeah, let me buy your ticket. What?
Right.
Wow. And they're absolutely sincere and they mean it. They don't want anything, but they're just, no, I want to get you there. I want to help you out. It's amazing.
Yep, definitely. I know, what was I going to say? Like, so in years past, there's quite a few that actually like apply for the scholarship, and it's amazing the amount of out of that apply that get to go. Like last year was the first year that I jumped on to help out with kind of weeding through all the scholarship applications and figuring out ways that we could best suit everybody. And I think we had like, close to 20 applications or something like that.
It was like 23. Yeah,
it was a bunch. And I believe when it all was said and done, because we always go back and check, and you always have people who their life has changed like in different ways over the months after they apply. So, maybe they got a job and they're like, I just can't do it, or, something else has come up. And so, the numbers drop or whatever. But I believe we had about 13, I think, guys that came on scholarship this past year. So that's the other thing I was trying to tell people. I'm like, just apply, because we try really hard to get as many as we can through. There are the few that don't quite make it, just because it's super expensive. Like they're like, I need everything, and you're like, I can't, we can't afford to cut that kind of a check, type of deal.
I need a flight from India.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not out of the running, but let's,
you might be close to the
yeah.
But still
defray that.
Yeah.
So what I want to do though is, because I don't think we've done this. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But let's connect the dots between the beer share, and the scholarship.
So, oh, and by the way, real quick, there is a committee, so it's not just me with the beer share. I put together a committee this year.
Look at you being all organized.
Good for you. Should you're gonna need help.
And so, basically the entire year, it's been myself, Brian Frampton, and Paul Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found out that neither of those two can go to the convention.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't realize either of those were. Wow.
No. Okay. So now I have no additional help on the ground. So I reached out to Eric, and he said he wasn't able to come on board originally because he couldn't do anything day to day. I was like, just on the ground, you can be in the chats and everything else, but you don't have to do anything else. So he's like, okay. And then like a week later, I was still considering getting another person, and Quetzal messages going, hey, really digging all this stuff you're doing extra with the beer beer share. How can I help out? Boom.
There you go.
Got roped in right there.
Glad you asked.
It's always good to get a very motivated former board member to join.
Seriously.
And Chainsaw is one of my favorites. He's got to be one of my favorite people. I met him in Raleigh, I think, and he's just so nice. I don't know.
Yeah. No. So I appreciate the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So I've got some extra help, but so the way that this connects, what we do about 3 nights of the beer share, to be honest.
It has to be. There's so much that comes in.
There's so much beer. If you go to the beer share Facebook page, the cover photo is our kill shot from last year, and if you look close, it's pretty impressive. That's a lot of beer.
It's impressive.
And we drink responsibly, and we all get home safe, and we all make it to every single speaker the next day.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, that's why we tell folks too, like, get a room at the hotel, because there's so much more ability to connect. But at the same time too, it's like, I just have to walk down the hallway to get to my room. Like,
right. Well, and we usually start around 9. We usually end around 2 or 3. I mean, these are, and people come and go, however. But so we're rolling. We're going through, we're drinking a bunch, we're having a great time. And on the last night, Paul, I believe, I can never remember which one of us started it, but I think it's Paul, was like, we should put out a tip jar. Okay. And we put one out, and he primes it with a buck folded over. And I tell him, I'm like, whatever it is, we're going to split it, and we're going to go get like a late night snack at 2 a.m. Cool, right? Great.
Yeah, as you should. Yeah,
we're gonna get a handful of dollars, maybe a 5. I'm like, we might get a 5, and then that'll be really cool. And we'll have enough to split a chalupa or something.
We can go get conies.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in Cincinnati.
That's how far ahead and how big I thought this could get. And I mean, we had about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours left of the last night. Somebody drops a 5, somebody drops 10, somebody drops a 50. And then people just keep dropping until we're over like 200.
Yep.
Or something like that. And I look at him, and the night's not over. And I look at him, and I'm like, okay, now I'll clean it up a little. Now we're complete a-holes. If we just split this between the 2 of us, like,
let's take this money and run.
Seriously, it's like we're looking at a lobster dinner for each of us here. Like, no, we can't, we can't. And so one of us, again, I can't remember which, but one of us is like, scholarship fund.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like, what better? Perfect. So we tell the room, and we might have been over 100, maybe not close to 2. We tell the room, all right, scholarship fund. And then just everyone's change comes flying. Just every dollar, every 5, anything anybody's got left. So by the end of the night, we had just under 400. I think it was like 378 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's how that got connected.
Which that was funny too, because like you said, it was the last night. So I was coordinating all of the end of the convention stuff. And I was just like, I'm done. Like, I just want to go up to the beer share and drink whatever. And I remember walking in, and you walked up to me with like was it a red Solo cup? I don't even remember.
No, it was a paper bag.
A paper bag. Yeah, something like
that. Yeah, paper bag.
Yeah, that's what it was, paper bag. And you're just like, here, this is
I told you, we want to send somebody next year.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. I was like, we want to send somebody, and we want people to know we sent somebody. Like,
yeah, and I'm like,
important to me.
And I'm just like, I don't want to hold on to all this cash. I'm like looking around the room. I'm like, where is Ed? This needs to go to Ed.
Where is the treasure? I need him right now. This is treasure emergency.
So I'm like, I will hold on to this, but I am looking.
That's how
for
I felt.
Ed.
I didn't want to hold on to it either.
No, I hear you. Yeah. So yeah, as soon as Ed walked into the room, I'm like, Ed, come here. Jump across. It's like, hey, Norm.
Norm.
So yeah, and gave it to him, and he was very like surprised as to what was going on, but excited about it. So, but it to me though, like it was very reminiscent in some ways of what a lot of people call the lightning in the bottle that took place in Minneapolis with the hot dog eating contest, or the hot dog contest.
Which my word, yeah, God, that was just.
Yeah, Danny, do you want to? I'm gonna say, do you want to talk about that?
It was well. I mean, I'm excited to talk about it. Sure, I don't know that I've got all the details, but basically,
I'll fill in whatever you don't.
Long story of basically Pat Jacobs, who just refuses to believe that ketchup should be on a hot dog.
Well, ketchup should be on anything.
He's
a ketchup denier. He's really what
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but it was a running joke, and the people that were in on the joke really, it just kept ramping up. And I mean, I'd heard about it like, in the periphery. I had a lot of other stuff going on too, and I was like, okay. So Pat, because everybody would say it every time something came up. Somebody would mention, or Pat's name came up, somebody would mention ketchup. I mean, it was that big a thing in the organization, and it was huge. But so at I don't know, was it Saturday night? I think, but
well, before that though, JB Craft got in on it and was like very much not a mustard guy.
Yeah, he was a mustard denier, I'd say.
Yeah. He was a mustard. So you had these two guys, and it was like we pitted them up against each other to see which one would have to eat the hot dog with the condiment that they hated the most.
Right.
And of course, that's a great motivator for anybody that knows those two, and even those that don't. Like, oh, we're gonna basically give money to make somebody eat something they don't like. I'm in. Like,
there was, and it went from. I mean, it went during this because we had it like they set up at the stage in front of the main room.
Yeah.
And then they're like, if anybody wants, the donations are at this point, but if anybody wants to add anything else in, and people are just throwing money basically towards it. And then go ahead.
The best part about that though. So yeah, like there were people giving money, but at one point everybody got this idea of like, how do we get them both to have to eat the hot dogs? And somebody walked up to them and said, and I don't think who they grabbed the microphone from, but they were just like, what will it take for both of you to have to eat, a hot dog of your disliking? And they came up with a number. And as soon as they came up with the number, people just like ran to the ATMs and like came back and just were like slapping cash back down on the table, and they hit it.
I don't remember how much it was. Does anybody remember?
No,
it was like
significant.
I think in total it was supposed to be like around like $3,000 or something like that. And yeah, it did not.
It was a lot of money, and the guys were like, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to. That's not my story to tell. But they were some of the dads. I remember they stood up and go, "I'll give you $500 right now." And it's just like jumping it like that, just large amounts that people. I don't know where they got their money, but hey, it's a great place to go, right? And again, if you have it and you want to donate it, that's a wonderful charitable thing to do.
Yeah.
And then watching those guys eat hot dogs that they just absolutely hated. We have so many good pictures of that.
Yeah.
It was really good work.
Which was huge because the next year we didn't get to do Home Dad Con in person. Right. It was online, but we were able to get, some of the guys who couldn't afford to do even that to get a go, which then we had money that rolled over to Cincinnati. And then we also had been accumulating money as well. So it just allowed for this large pot, and we were able to get, like I said, like 13 some guys to like come to Cincinnati, but we still even had money left over because there were guys who we awarded that at last minute couldn't come, and so that money just rolled over to this year. So we had a nice baseline, and that's honestly like, yeah, one goal is to try to use as much of it as possible, but the other part of it is too is that if you can't, like, the nice part is it rolls over to the next year, and it just helps out the next group of guys that are coming in following.
So speaking of next year, Joe, what's the plan for this year for Phoenix?
So we got some big ideas we're attempting, and whenever you're attempting new stuff, there's pitfalls and there's slip ups and et cetera, et cetera. But for this year, the plan going in is, and what we've been working on is, we are actively raising money and doing a raffle. So I have been annoying every brewer and brewery I know, and a handful that I don't. And we've got other members that are doing the same, because we're all across the country. We've got a lot of targets we can hit. And so at this point, I've got about 11 or so brewers that are either giving beer or swag or both.
What is their response been when you come to them and propose this idea to them?
So it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody who I know, because we've interviewed a lot of these guys, we've hung out with a few of these guys, we've been really fortunate to make some close friendships. They're like, yeah, I can do something. Like, every single one has been like, I can do something. I won't name names, but I've got one spot where they don't sell swag and they barely make by year to year. Like, they are super small and they're scrappers, amazing beer, but they're scrappers. And he's like, I can't do money, I can't do swag because we don't have it, but I can give you 3 4-packs.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Nice.
Other places, I had one spot where he's like, well, do you want beer, swag, or money? Like, I'm not going to pick for you. You pick. And I'm like, I really want your friggin' beer, but no, we need money. Give me that cash. So not even overall, across the board, if I know the brewer, yep, we got something for you.
Excellent.
So amazing. That, and like, what was nice too is a couple of days I would get 3 or 4 responses back when I woke up in the morning like that. And that really kind of, these people, they're friends and they're great people that, I already know that, but to get that kind of response back, and a couple of responses where it's like, yeah, I was a stay-at-home parent for 2-3 years, or, my baby daddy was, whatever, right? Like, right. They have connections to it, not to the organization, but to what we do. And they're like, yeah, I would love to help.
That's awesome.
That's been good. And then I've been reaching out. I just got my first not connected to the convention or beer cash donation.
Sweet.
Nice. There you go.
So anybody listening just randomly, because you came across this, I'll take just your cash too. Like, and I don't care how
it spins the same to help get dads to the convention. That's the nice part.
No, so the beer that's been donated, and then any swag that you've gotten, of course, will go in. Are you raffling stuff off, or
you
have an idea of
So we're gonna do a big old raffle. Again, just like every year, you don't have to bring beer or pay any money to participate in the beer share. Let me say that again, so nobody gets it wrong. You do not have to bring beer or spend money to participate in the beer share. We've never had a requirement like that before, because it's just a bunch of friends, a bunch of stay-at-home dads hanging out, and it's still that way. But when you show up, you'll get a raffle ticket no matter what you do, and then you can pay a little bit more if you want to help your chances. But there's no cash or beer requirement to participate. And I'm gonna wait to see what exactly comes in, because a few of these spots haven't said exactly what we're getting, just that we're getting stuff. So once we do that, we'll see how much, if we do gift baskets of stuff or just like lots of stuff, or whatever. But yeah, a bunch of swag, a little bit of beer, and we'll start giving it out, try and make some money off it.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. it's been a hustle, and I got 2 more months to hustle some more.
Yeah.
But like you were saying though, like, it's open to anybody. You don't even have to drink, honestly. Like there's quite a few guys who are sober that go hang out. And I think Matt Strain's even like working on possibly getting some stuff from Athletic Brewing that he's connected with. So that's going to be there as well. But on top of that, like, it's just a fun space to get a hangout. Now it's not happening in a common space this year as of right. It's a weird sort of situation.
We don't quite know. And there's timing issues and other stuff. And so
we'll work that out.
But at the same time, we're getting there. But the reason I bring that up is if it ends up that it's just in somebody's room, which is not a big deal, I think that just the letting folks know that it's okay to like come hang out in somebody's room. It's not weird to come do that. Like there's going to be a bunch of guys in there just having a great time.
And don't lay in the bed, but you're welcome. Yeah.
I mean, if you have to.
I mean, we've had guys
don't
fall
do anything in the bed, but you can lay on the bed.
We've had guys fall asleep on a couch or something like that before.
I believe technically he fell asleep at the table the beer was on first, and then was moved
over. Yeah.
And I will just say this, please.
And he was just tired. He wasn't drunk. He was just tired.
But I will just say, please don't be offended if we put a blanket on you. We just figure you want to be comfortable.
Right.
Yeah. We're dads, we're caretakers. You look cold.
Exactly.
We're just gonna help you.
And I gotta say though, it's kind of funny. Because last year, we were in a common space, and there was a bar for us to be behind. There was a cocktail-esque feel behind there. It was we were having a blast, right? But
you mean Cocktail, the Tom Cruise movie?
I do.
All right, I just want to clarify for our young listeners.
There was some pink, blinkety pink lighting back behind.
Oh man,
flinging it around. Somebody's reciting poetry. It's
seriously, it was a blast.
Going to paradise.
Wait, which one of you was talking in the Australian accent?
That was me.
Okay, that would be you.
I believe the third night.
After a few heavy beers.
Right. Some of those Drakkar milkshake styles. Anyway, but part of me kind of missed the years before, because when you've got like 25 dads jammed into a spot in like a circle and one semicircle in somebody's room, like there's just a camaraderie thing that's a little different. But I love the common room too, because you were able to get more people and you could have separate conversations.
Oh yeah. And we went up and played some card game and stuff like that. It wasn't like poker, it was some odd card game, but and we went up and played cards in the room and just kind of sat around at the table there and had a great time. Just to be a part of that was really cool.
And so one way or another, it's a blast and it's a lot of fun. And the first night's usually the veterans that realize it's going on, or the newbies that entered into a chat or something and risked it to get up there. And then the second 2 nights, and it's like, oh, word got out.
That's where things are at.
Okay.
Everybody's in town, everybody's ready.
Right. Everybody's done with dinner. Doesn't want to blow $100 on drinks at the bar.
Yep.
Let's check out the beer share.
Right. Exactly.
So the proceeds and everything that you've got is going to go to the Brian Dixon Memorial Fund. Is it going to go? Yeah.
So at this point, the original idea, but it's been difficult because Arizona breweries don't like to get back to you at all.
Come on, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona breweries. Come on,
Phoenix. Everything
tagging them like crazy, because I've sent all kinds of messages. I don't have any connections down there directly, and I don't have any indirect through brewers up here. So that's been the difficult thing, is if I know a brewer, they're like, yeah, here, like, love you. But if it's just cold calls, nothing back. But so originally the idea was we would split funds between the scholarship fund and a local Phoenix charity. Something that benefits dads in the area. Because my thought was, we come into these spaces, and I mean, it's great. We're, helping the economy with the hotel and with food and everything else. That's awesome. But it's never direct donation.
Mhm.
So the thinking being, here we're in your space, and let's help out other dads like us in some way.
Yeah, definitely.
And our hope was to find a brewery that wanted to partner in that, and make it a little easier that way. Find out what breweries like to, or what scholarships and other things that breweries like to give to in the area.
Well, there's still time. That's the nice part.
I just sent more emails yesterday, and another Instagram message came through yesterday. And yeah, no, we're on it. We've reached out to about 6 or 7 between two of us, between Aaron and I, and it's just hard to get anything back. I do have a backup. I won't say what right now, but I do have a backup where it will go if we can't get something like that in Arizona. But basically my goal is to give to charities, give to the fund where it's not going to operating costs. It's not going to other things. I'm not using any of it. I found somebody to ship the beer that I get up here. So none of the donated money will go to shipping or to travel costs.
That's very cool.
Or anything. If I get too much swag, I've got someone in the wings that'll probably ship that for me as well. I want to make that really clear. Like we're not taking this money and ending up with half of it because we got to get it all down there.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask this. I'm gonna name drop a few breweries, and I'm curious to know if you've reached out to them or not. And then I'm gonna tag them in this too. Because
we're going there. Away.
So and I'm gonna name drop an Instagram blogger that I've been talking with. So this Instagram blogger goes by Phoenix Beer Snob, and I've been following him. And I've been following him for a while.
Haven't reached out yet, but he's on my list.
So we've talked back and forth, and I said, hey, I'm coming to Phoenix. What breweries should I be checking out? That kind of deal.
Sure.
He mentioned Wren House.
I have someone else who's reached out. Yeah.
Okay. He mentioned Arizona Wilderness.
Yep.
Okay.
I've got an Instagram message and email.
Nice.
Out to them.
He also mentioned Greenwood Brewing.
No.
Which is apparently downtown. So those were the 3 that he gave me as a not to miss places to go check out when in Phoenix. So I was like, I hope that if you hadn't heard of them, now you do. So those 3, if you've heard from Joe and the whole the scholarship fund from the National At-Home Dad Network, just know we really are serious about wanting to work with you and get something together for being able to get you involved, and also to partner with a local nonprofit in the area that helps out with dads and in the Phoenix area. So hopefully that helps.
Well, yeah, no. So also reached out to Fate Brewing, Simple Machine, Front Porch, and then Aaron reached out to one other. So we're at about 7 or 8 that we've reached out to.
Nice. I'm just looking at when I get in on Tuesday that I'm getting in at Tuesday at 7:15. I have the opportunity to get to a room, put my bags down, and be okay, what am I going first?
Yeah. Well, I'm getting in Tuesday at probably noon or something. So yeah.
Well, there you go. At lunch, I know who I'm going to be having lunch with.
Let me tell you.
You and Brett.
The hustle.
You and Britt Landry.
Yeah, Brett's going in the Friday before or something. He's just taking the whole week. Yeah. He said his wife was like,
get out of the house.
I was just saying the hustle don't stop just because we're at the place. I'm gonna be pushing until the very end.
No, that's great.
A lot of this stuff too, like I said, some of these brewers, they're giving me what they can.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just, this is what we got. Had another, I won't say who, but had another spot where they're like, you know what, we got a piece of a farm that had a drought, so we're hurting, and we're hurting on this, but what do you need, and we'll send it down for you.
Nice.
There you go.
Wow.
So these places are, really, some of them, digging deep to get us some stuff. So I want to show appreciation of that by getting as much out of this as possible.
So I have also too, I've been drinking all night out of a very spectacular 25th anniversary Home Dad Con beer share pint glass, which I forget how I got it exactly. Was it?
We were gifted 2 of them. Hold up.
That's right. Yeah, we were gifted them.
Yeah, keep talking.
Are we? I was just kind of wondering if anything like that is. Oh, you got the. Is that what is that? The metal.
Yeah, that's the metal
stainless steel
taster glass.
Yeah,
Taster
so
cup, because it's cooler. So I picked this one.
Yeah, like I didn't know
it is cooler, and your kid can't break it as easily. Sorry.
So
if something
also,
like that was going to be like available, like for people to be able to purchase.
Chatting,
maybe.
Also possibly in the works. It's kind of become something where if we can figure it out in time, that'd be cool, but not a priority.
Yeah.
You know, like my priority, our priority, which by the way, 2 of the people helping on this, thank God for them, because I have no charitable background other than giving $5-10 to, to get chocolate bars from a kid. Like, well, I have no background in this stuff whatsoever. And Paul and Brian both have a background. So they jumped in and have helped so much. But so for all of us, like, the priority is getting that money. And so, putting extra money to cups and stuff, if we can figure it out, if we can, great. But right now we've ramped up the donations.
So let me ask this question, because I'm sure it's going to get asked, or it's going to be like one of these, like, they didn't ask this question. How do you get beer there? Like, what are the safe ways to?
Okay, you were all ramping up and ready, man. You were ready for, like, give me the question. Give me the big question.
I thought this was going to be difficult. Yeah.
No, I didn't. No, it's not going to be a difficult question for you to answer. I'm just saying it's going to be something that everybody, that has not done it before is going to be like, how do we do? How do you do this?
So let's start with the unadvisable. The unadvisable, I am not claiming to have ever done this, and I'm not claiming that any of my friends or brewer friends have ever done this. I've just heard rumors.
Are you freezing it like you're?
No. So rumor has it that if you label it olive oil and wrap it up and mail it, that no one will look because nobody cares, and it'll make it safely to your destination. Also, I heard a rumor of a certain person getting a package of beer with popcorn kernels in a little dip cup. So when you shook it, it didn't sound like liquid.
But nowadays, though, like, I mean, you can get beer mail from companies.
So they're licensed to do that and all that other stuff. It is, because of taxes and other laws, it is illegal to mail across state lines. So just so you know, if you're mailing beer and you're not a shop or something like that, technically they can get you.
Okay. So let's not try to talk too much about the illegal stuff then, so that we don't get in trouble. That's
why I'm saying rumors, and I'm not advising anyone do that.
So what would you advise?
Yes, I'm getting there. So the other ways to get your beer there, if you have a large quantity like I do, I have a friend who owns a bottle shop. And so he is going to ship it to another business for me in Arizona, and then I just pick it up.
Yeah. And when we're talking large quantities, we're talking about the fact that you're getting lots of beer from lots of places. Yeah.
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah.
Still don't have the count on that. And that's the scary part, because the only other 2 ways to do it, pardon me, are to drive it, if you're driving, or to fly with it.
Right.
Now, if you fly with it, the fun part about that is it needs to all be in your checked baggage. If you're only doing carry-on, because you didn't buy it in duty free or anything like that, it is going to go over your ounces limit. And so you won't get past TSA with it. So you got to pack it and check it. For tips on that, hit me up and I can give you a ton of tips. It's really make sure the top is sealed real good a couple ways, and then make sure put it in a Ziploc and make sure it's buffered between other stuff. Cans are easy as heck. Bottles a little bit more, but I've flown with 12 glass bottles from Belgium over the Atlantic, and nothing broke. So it's doable.
Well, and that the air packing that you used for that, like the bubble wrap type stuff, like where did you acquire that?
I'll never do that again just because it's so silly. It was just Amazon.
Oh, okay.
It was Amazon, and I found like 3 different ones, and I went with the one that looked the best and had the best rating. But I mean, this thing, like you put the beer into it, like a full bottle, like a 22 ounce you can fit into this thing, and then you took a pump and inflated these little capsules around it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's intense. I didn't realize that.
And then folded a top over that, then you pushed a little bit more and it would also fill that up. And then I taped the top like that. I mean, it just, and I did it to like 2 or 3 bottles that are, $20-$30 bottles, that I was like, if these break,
very upsetting.
my convention's over. Like I'll be
yeah.
I'll just be beside
so
myself.
for me when I've gone, I basically, what I do is I'll wrap them in like some bubble wrap that's just sitting around the house or whatever, and then I put them in Ziploc bags, and then
always a Ziploc.
Yeah.
Always a Ziploc, just as a last resort, so it doesn't ruin all your clothes.
Everything, right?
Yeah.
And then I just try to place them like not on the outside or anything, like actually like within the clothes or whatever. I might even like wrap it in like some shirts and stuff just to kind of help it out. But that's really like
smaller
minimum.
Cans fit great in a shoe.
They do. Yep.
Like 12 ounce, put it in a Ziploc, put it right in your shoe. Nothing happening to that.
Nice.
It's really just thinking of, worst case scenario of someone throwing your luggage around, because it does get thrown. How can it, be braced on all sides? But I would never buy those things again. I think I have 2 left somewhere. There's no way I'm finding it. If I board this, you'd understand. There's no way I'm finding it in all this crud. But I've got like 2 left, and it was overkill. It was way over the top.
So we're coming up against the wall for the episode. I do want to know, because I know Danny mentioned this, that how can folks contribute to what you're doing? How do they get in contact with you? I mean, are you looking for guys that to even like go to their local breweries like in their area and like pitch it to them?
Yeah. So if you want to get involved, the fastest way is to email or message me, because I'm just hustling that every second of the day. But also Brian Frampton, Paul Gordon, Quetzal, Eric, any of them are connected, and most of the board's connected too. But for the most part, it's going to funnel to one of the 5 of us. We've got paperwork that you can give, because it is a 501c3, so this is tax deductible. You are giving, so, and businesses like that a lot of times. So we have wording and stuff for all that. If you get in contact with us, and yes, if you want to go to your local spot, if you want to go to all the spots in your state, whatever you're up for, whatever you're comfortable with, at this point, it's a game of numbers. And so hit as many as we can, but we're looking for swag to give away, beer to drink and give away, and money. That's what we're looking for.
Nice.
And if they ask, I mean, we're going to blow this up on social media. So every single beer we drink, every piece of swag that's given away is going to be tagged and posted and, blown up for everybody to see. Because I want these spots, to know that we appreciate what they're giving. We appreciate,
absolutely.
what they're, giving over. For a lot of these places, not even in the same state. Like, most people are never going to drink these beers if it's from an out-of-state spot.
Right. Well, it's the same thing with the stuff that you're getting from the Washington State area. Like, it's not anything that if I didn't go see you, or I didn't go to the beer share, like I'm not going to get a chance at getting a hold of that, like a Georgetown or something like that, which were delicious beers when I was out there visiting.
Thank you, Matt Edwards. Yep. So that's the thing, is I want these spots to know. So if you decide you want to talk to your local brewery or brewer, really let them know we just appreciate the heck out of them. We appreciate the heck out of independent beer. And it's not an easy gig for a lot of people. They hustle real hard too. So for them to help us out is a big deal.
Definitely. Well, I know that, scholarship guys definitely are going to appreciate, being able to get the opportunity to go based on that. I know that I can imagine Danny being on the board. the board's got to be appreciative of the work you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, it's just, it's one of those things where it's really neat to just kind of see where it's developed to, where it's going, and hopefully it continues on. I thought it was interesting. At one point there was like, oh, like we're just raising money so that dads can just drink. And it's like, no, it's not that at all. Like it's a chance for us to raise money for other dads to get to come to Home Dad Con, a conference that honestly is unique compared to most anything that's out there.
It's appreciation of something you consume. You oh, it's a beer show. Like you said, you're just going to get drunk and fall. Who's going to throw up in the toilet or whatever, or in the tub? No. And now I'm not going to say those things cannot happen. I'm not going to say people cannot get drunk, obviously, but it's just to share your passion. And that's the thing that I really love about it. Cause again, I just don't like beer, but the growth of it has been because of that passion, because of that love. God, I want to share this beer. I've got this local brewery does this. It's a once a year thing. So I brought, 4 cans or 4 bottles, and I want everybody gets a taste of this thing that you're not going to get an opportunity to try. And you're able to appreciate the subtleties of it, and it's not about getting drunk.
Yeah. And anybody that goes there, I would say 2 things. One, look up the scarcity and prices of the beers that are for the most part being consumed. These aren't, cheap Miller Lights that are getting thrown around. These are really high end things that you don't want to be, plastered because you're not going to taste it, and you want to taste it. They taste fantastic.
Right.
Whether Danny knows that or not. And secondly, I'd say, if you see the photos that come from these, take out the beer and you would think it's a high school reunion of like from 30, 40 year, where it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in forever. It's much more camaraderie going on, and we just happen to gather around beer for that.
For that share that passion.
For that night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember last year a guy walking through the lobby with like everything strapped on him and walking with his wife and kid. And we were like, hey, are you a stay-at-home dad? And he's like, yeah. And, we invited him up to the beer share, and he, got his wife and kid to bed and came over and hung out with us for a while. And that dude was living it up. He was having a great time just getting to meet everybody. And to me, like, I felt like that was sort of the kind of epitome of just like this great opportunity to connect dads together that way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, Danny's not a beer guy, but he goes and hangs out and comes to it. So
yeah, it's still fun. It's still, the guy. And I love listening to and watching people do what they love. I really enjoy that. I get a sense of enjoyment or a sense of joy of it. Hey, you like that beer? I'm not knocking beer. I'm not like, oh, it's, making love in a canoe, and I'm not that guy. But it's just something that I personally have not developed a taste for. That's all. Sure. It's like a lot of people don't like scotch, and I'm not going to push scotch on you.
You need better. You need better local friends. Your local friends are really dropping the ball.
I don't have any local friends, man. Why'd you got to bring that up?
I guess I'm moving. Okay. I'll tell my wife. I guess I'm moving.
No, there you go. I do have local friends. It's just like an hour and a half or 2 hours away. That's local. That's good.
Yeah. Well, and
a 4-hour trip to the city
in your area.
All my boys.
Well, and I'll say this too. I've never been on the board, but I'm starting to, and like I've done some committees, but not like the on the ground planning committee, right? Because y'all won't come to Seattle. But I'm starting to get that understanding of I will not be relaxed until I'm on the flight home. Like, we're working this from the actual fundraising and everything else, and coordinating and etc. Like, it was one thing to be like, yeah, it's in my room, and then everybody just shows up and we're like, okay, whatever happens, and any questions about it, screw you, I don't care. It's just in my room and it's a beer share. Like, we're not organizing. To go from that to, no, we need paperwork and we've got questions on Discord, and this is not going to end until I'm in the plane, and then it'll probably restart by the time I land. So I've always had an appreciation for the board, but I've got a little bit extra for the planning committees of years past. So
it's right. Yeah. I will say it's being on the board has really taught me that I didn't know how much was going on. I did not have any idea how much work that was going on.
Now he knows why I ran away.
Well, and like, for those that don't know, Brock beat me out when I ran one year. And I was devastated.
And we were roommates. Too.
And I was devastated because I won't say who, but I had a handful of high up folks that are like, "Oh, Joe, shoo in. You got it. You got it." And then we go into the vote. It's like, you don't got it.
You don't.
It was close. It was close, but somebody like Brock more than you. Like, you lost by like 2. And I was devastated. But then about 2 years later, I was like, oh, thank God. Okay. No, I don't know that I needed that extra stress.
You dodged a bullet, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like, you didn't lose your passion for being involved in the organization. You figured out a way to wield it and to turn it into something else. And that's the thing that I'm most proud about you in doing it. Oh, whatever. We have such a brotherly love for each other.
Unbridled rage.
Oh, not you.
Yeah.
Various board members, not you.
They
know who they are. They won't hear this. They're not on anymore. They don't.
But anyway, Joe, thanks for coming on tonight
thanks for having
just getting to talk about it. We'll put in the show notes, of course, the ways that people can get in contact with you and the committee, and how they can, just be able to help out in some kind of way. Hopefully the breweries we mentioned tonight will get back to you, and
I hope
that hopefully if anything, we get to taste some of their beverages. I know I look forward to definitely hitting some of the breweries with you when we go out.
Dude, it's going to be an awful lot of Seattle beer posts in Arizona if we can't get it. Like, it's going to be like, hey, I'm in
Phoenix better step up then, so that we don't.
I'm in Arizona and I'm drinking Headless Mumby. Hey, I'm in. What? None of these are Arizona. Yeah.
Well,
what are you going to do?
There's the challenge right there. So cool. Well, we'll get this out there, and hopefully that'll spark the interest of others, and we'll be able to get more stay-at-home dads to this year, and hopefully next year and the following years to come. So thanks. You have a good night.
You too.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.